Hello everyone and welcome to Farm Bureau's Voices of Agriculture. This week coming to you from the state of Mississippi. On the show this time, we visit Vardaman, Mississippi, the sweet potato capital of the world. We'll take you to South Mississippi, where a few innovative farmers are growing shiitake mushrooms for gourmet restaurants. Then we'll visit Forrest County Agricultural High School, where they've been teaching agriculture to students for a full century. And finally, our Mississippi on the Menu segment with home economist Nancy Freeman. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Family traditions are never more important than when families gather around the dinner table to celebrate special occasions. Farm families of Mississippi share the bounty of the harvest with families throughout the state and even the nation. Chances are that your gatherings include delicious sweet corn, baked sweet potatoes, and a rich golden pecan pie. Buy Mississippi-grown products. It's good for your family and it's good for Mississippi. The Farm Families of Mississippi.
Vardaman, Mississippi is known nationwide for producing some of the best quality sweet potatoes in the country. The farmers here work very hard to produce and pack a quality sweet potato product. It starts with the soils. We have great soils and a great climate that's perfect for growing sweet potatoes. Plus, we have generations of farmers who have years of experience in how to grow a good sweet potato. Mississippi ranks third in the country in sweet potato production behind North Carolina and California. The pioneering sweet potato producers came from Tennessee in the early 1900s to grow in the Vardaman area. The farms stayed small all through World War II and the 1960s.
And as we got into the 70s, we really kind of ratcheted up the size a little bit of our farms. Of course, we've gone from hand digging sweet potatoes with a turning plow all the way up to one-row diggers to two-row harvesters now to large bucket crews. So it's changed quite a bit as we've gone through time. Farms tend to have gotten a little bit larger. We have different varieties now that produce a more consistent quality sweet potato. The yields are better now than they used to be. So we've made a lot of progress and changed a lot.
Because of consumer demand, the industry has changed quite a bit. Potatoes are now available year-round instead of just after harvest.
Used to, we'd sell out of sweet potatoes when it got hot weather. It didn't have sweet potatoes for the summer months. That's all changed. Sweet potatoes are available now year-round in these temperature-controlled, humidity-controlled facilities. And we're proud to produce our product, put it in the stores nationwide.
Joe Edmondson is the owner of Topsaw Farms and has been growing sweet potatoes for over 30 years. But he just recently got into the processing part of the business.
We introduced our label, which is the name of our farm, less than a year ago. And it went really well because there's a lot of excitement in the sweet potato business.
Edmondson employs about 30 people in the packing shed and another 80 to 100 back on the farm. The potatoes come down the line and are sorted manually to ensure quality.
Going down that line, you've probably got the option to do 6 different sizes. You'll have, of course, you're going to have your ones will be sized, and you'll take your 2s out of your ones. And then they'll go to another size where they'll be broke down into large 2s and small 2s. And then you can do the same thing on the one side, but normally you don't. And then you got a jumbo, which the prettier jumbos, still a good market for those. I mean, this would be a good, what you would consider a good #1 grade jumbo. But the rougher jumbos, you know, something similar to this or maybe a little rougher, really doesn't matter, it goes to process. And there's really a good market for processed potatoes right now.
The marketing of sweet potatoes has changed drastically over the years, and different sized potatoes are used for different things.
#1 sweet potatoes, just like this one right here, is a #1 sweet potato. And we produce that for the fresh markets. You buy this on the grocery shelf. And we provide a lot of those potatoes throughout the stores in America. We also have a lot of potatoes, jumbo-sized potatoes, that are not necessarily go to fresh market. A lot of them are going to processing right now. Processed products have really trended upward.
Processed sweet potatoes go to products like baby food.
A lot of the baby food processors prefer our potatoes because of the high brick or high sugar content, and they specify that in a lot of cases. We have a good, safe, clean product, and that's part of the thing too. We certainly are aware of food safety. If you're processing into baby food, we're going to have to be top-notch in that area.
Another use for processed sweet potatoes is the fast-growing sweet potato French fry market.
Restaurants are picking up on the sweet potato French fries and utilizing them on the menu quite a lot now. we're seeing that growth, and we're seeing maybe some of these chain eateries, whether it's hamburger facilities or whatever, picking up on these sweet potato French fries.
There's been some movement in the sweet potato fry industry to move sweet potato fries into markets like O'Charley's, TGI Fridays, medium-sized restaurants that are chain related, and they have sweet potato fries on their menu. Now, just recently, it's starting to move into the fast food industry. It won't be long that the fry market will move into the bigger worldwide fast food markets.
But one of the most interesting marketing efforts for sweet potatoes is the bakery in Vardaman called Sweet Potato Sweets. Daphne Cook is the owner and has been in the business for about 15 years, making 38 different items with sweet potatoes in them.
Of course, we make the sweet potato pies, we make a sweet potato pecan pie, we make several other varieties such as chess pies, and we'll have one named the cool pie, cheesecake pie. We just put the sweet potatoes in, and you know, the sweet potato pie, of course, tastes more like sweet potatoes than anything, but everything we cook does have the sweet potatoes in it. We have breads, we have fudge, bonbons, which is a sweet candy, cookies. Muffin tops is one of our really big seller, my favorite. We cook those every day. We have had the same customers for a lot of years, and they come back every fall. The business starts when people think they are harvesting sweet potatoes. I don't know why it makes a difference, but it does. A lot of people don't think you eat sweet potatoes in the summertime, you know, when it's warm, but they're just as good as anything else.
And the strangest thing she's ever tried to make out of sweet potatoes?
Probably the dog biscuits over there. That was my manager's idea. And we do sell some of them, you know, a good many of them actually.
The Center for Science in the Public Interest ranked the sweet potato #1 in nutrition of all vegetables. With a score of 184, the sweet potato outscored the next highest vegetable by more than 100 points. Sweet potatoes are virtually fat-free, cholesterol-free, and very low in sodium. 1 cup of cooked sweet potatoes has only 180 calories. Edible mushrooms have been cultivated in the Orient for centuries. Nowadays, chefs in gourmet restaurants use fancy mushrooms in many of their dishes to the delight of customers. But where do these chefs get these hard-to-find delicacies? Who would have thought that an old chicken house like this would be the source of some of the finest mushrooms in some of the finest restaurants in the South? Brett Smith has been in the mushroom business for about 7 years.
We started out helping Mississippi Natural Products doing some research before they got started. And once they got started, we were the first grower, Smith Lake Farms, and we started growing in '05, right after Katrina.
Mississippi Natural Products is a farmers cooperative that was formed with the help of Alcorn State University to provide alternative crops to limited resource farmers in rural areas. Mushrooms, specifically shiitake mushrooms, have become the main product.
We sell to upscale restaurants, we sell to brokers, and we sell to a lot of grocery stores in Louisiana, and in Mississippi we sell to the McDade's groceries in Jackson. We chose shiitake because that's what Alcorn had done the research on for 7 or 8 years, so we knew we could successfully grow that. And it is considered a gourmet mushroom, and it was the most widely used gourmet mushroom in our distribution area.
For these gourmet mushrooms to be provided to restaurants, the co-op's first job is to create growing blocks that have been inoculated with shiitake mushroom mycelium. Before the blocks are injected, they must be sterilized in this chamber to kill all the bacteria that could be in the blocks, so that when the shiitake mushroom spawn is added to the block, it doesn't have to compete with any other living organism.
These are the substrate blocks sitting on the table. What they're pouring into the bags is what we call sawdust spawn, and that's bags of sawdust that just have spawn in them with no nutrients. He'll cut it open. When he pours it in, he has to be careful not to let that bag touch the other bags, or it could be contamination on them. See how he opens? He doesn't touch the tops of the bag. The girl in the middle, Denise, is actually taking the bag. She folds it over in front of the HEPA filter so it blows clean air in there. They need a little bit of air in the bag. She seals the bag with the bag sealer, and she passes it off to the shaker. The shaker on the end just mixes it up and distributes the sawdust spawn throughout the bag so that the mycelium will grow in all areas of the bag.
The inoculated blocks are then taken into an incubation room.
Once the blocks have been inoculated with spawn, the bag is sealed. We bring them into this room at 74 degrees and we maintain them at 74 degrees for 10 weeks. During that time, the mycelium or the spawn goes throughout the sawdust, the loose sawdust, and compacts it into a hard block. That's what we call the substrate block. After 10 weeks, the blocks then go to the grower and are ready to be grown.
That's where Brett Smith and his converted chicken house come in.
As you see these here growing, we have them on their own 21-day cycles. We have 3 growing rooms here. When we bring them in and open up the bags to start the growing process, we shock them, turn the temperature down to 58 degrees for 2 days, and then turn it up to 64 degrees for 12 days. And that's in the growing process. That's when they start growing. Then the last 7 days, they're in the rest period where they build back up their energy.
By staggering the blocks into 3 different rooms, Smith always has some mushrooms that need to be harvested.
We go through every day when we harvest, and we check under the mushroom to see when they're supposed to be harvested. And it's actually right when the veil starts to break is the perfect time to pick them. This one here, the veil is just now starting to break. So that's the perfect time to pick. When we go through and pick them, that's what we have to look for. So we have to pick every one of them up to check them to see, because you can't tell with it sitting up. A few hours makes a difference. These were probably not ready this morning. 8 hours they can be completely open and ready.
When the harvested mushrooms come back to Mississippi Natural Products, it's McNerney's job to market them to restaurants.
We take samples to the chefs. It requires constant follow-up, calling the chef back, seeing if they liked them, how many they use, where they get them from, can we compete with the price. We've never had any chefs that say we don't like your quality, because our mushrooms have a really thick cap compared to what you see in the big retail chains that are a real thin cap of shiitakes. The Make My Mississippi program has really helped us. The Rouse's grocery stores in Louisiana, it took us about 2 years to get into that chain, but once we did, we're in there, and they want Mississippi shiitake mushrooms because they're famous for buying local. So the slow food movement, the buy local movement, any areas that's prominent in, like Memphis, New Orleans, it really helps us market our mushrooms because Memphis and New Orleans both consider us to be local.
This is the only processing plant in the Southeast, and they actually ship shiitake blocks all over the country.
We have a grower in California that orders blocks from us. We have a grower in New York that orders blocks from us. And then we have a lot in Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee that'll order blocks.
So the next time you order mushrooms at a restaurant, remember that it could have started at a small operation in Southeast Mississippi. When we come back, we visit a high school that's giving young people hands-on training about agriculture. Stay tuned for more of Voices of Agriculture from Mississippi.
The sound of these bees is the sound of a safe environment and of an important source of safe, affordable food. Honey is a specialty crop produced in our state that is created from plants in our area. Mississippi beekeepers provide a safe, abundant, and affordable supply of honey to homes and restaurants statewide, while byproducts are used in soaps and other skincare products. Support Mississippi beekeepers. Buy locally produced honey. The farm families of Mississippi.
One of the things that can just boggle your mind is how much things have changed in the last 100 years. For instance, 100 years ago, the average life expectancy in the U.S. was 47 years. Only 14% of the homes in the U.S. had a bathtub. Only 8% of the homes had a telephone. And a 3-minute call from Denver to New York City cost $11. And believe it or not, Mississippi was more heavily populated than California. And while all of these things have drastically changed over the last century, there's a school here in Southeast Mississippi that's doing pretty much what it was doing 100 years ago when it was founded. Forrest County Agricultural High School is one of only 3 agricultural high schools remaining in Mississippi. When they opened their doors for the 1911-1912 school year, they were teaching homemaking and agricultural skills. They even served the food they grew in the school cafeteria.
Back then, the agricultural high schools were a forerunner to the community colleges, and they were associated with them. And so Forrest County had the foresight to create their own agricultural high school. We had a boarding school where we had a lot of students that came to us from South America, Chiquita Banana, United Fruit Company.
In addition to the students from South America, young people from all over Forrest County came to the school to learn about livestock and row crop management. Once they graduated here, many went on to Mississippi State or LSU to continue their ag education. It hasn't been a boarding school since the 1980s. In fact, it's just a normal high school now that happens to have an agricultural curriculum.
Many of them never take an ag course, but those that choose to, we do offer career technical courses. We have ag and natural resources, we have general agriculture, and we've just started a new horticulture program for our students last year. So they have the option of taking those as far as ag courses go.
This is the only ag high school in the state with a 300-acre working farm where they manage a commercial cow-calf operation, giving the students hands-on experience in working with these half-ton animals. In addition to the cattle, the students also manage a flock of sheep.
Sheep project is something we're in the second year of. These are hair sheep that we have, and what makes them so different than wool sheep is these are for their meat only. They will shed their hair in the late spring, and so therefore it does not need shearing. We have them lambing during the school year so that kids can there and see the process, and if we have to assist one, you know, we're right there. We've had several people from around our community who've seen these and gained interest from them. And so it's another alternative for a small landowner that wants to utilize 5-6 acres that he may not have enough land as far as putting a bunch of cattle on there.
Pull it up where anything that's leaning over, pull it up and tie it to the stake. Just give it one time.
The agri-science program provides a solid foundation in biotechnology, mechanical technology, food science, plant science, and entomology.
Currently, what I'm teaching is gardening techniques, and what we're doing is we're planting some gardens to sell the vegetables as well as contribute to a local community food bank. We've got tomatoes and beans and squash, okra, cucumbers, peppers, a variety of peppers, and what we're going to do is during the summer donate those to the food bank as well as sell some of them to support our program. It seems like it's something that students do, and the best thing about it is they're getting hands-on skills that they can use in their everyday life at home as well as go into the green industry, into vegetable production, and earn a sufficient living later on in life.
So what you're going to do is you're going to take cuttings, a 45-degree angle of this sweet potato vine, okay?
The horticulture program teaches students to propagate vegetables and flowers in the greenhouse.
We reproduce with Wonder and Jew, geraniums, begonia, and coleus, and we sell all this to the community, and we have several sales throughout the year where the community is able to come up here and purchase what they want, and it's a good opportunity for the students to see what they grow and see actually smiles on people's faces when they actually come up here and buy.
Senior Andy Thatcher has been in this program since the 9th grade.
I think young people going in agriculture is very important, is vital nowadays in this economy and all. So, I mean, like this school, it's a great opportunity for students to learn all this so maybe they can go into agriculture and maybe get their spirits up about going into agriculture because it's very important for them too.
In 1911, some men in the community decided that they needed a school in the southern part of the county. Well, you know,
School historian Glenda Nelson tells an interesting story of how the students contributed to the war effort during World War I.
Back during First World War, the men in the school wanted to be part of the war, and of course they were too young. So they decided that they would drill and be part of World War I. They purchased uniforms. They had an insignia on their shoulder that said FCAHS, and each morning they drilled, and they drilled just like they were in the Army. The women wanted to be part of that too, so the home ec ladies made bandages, collected different things to send to the soldiers in World War I.
Forrest County Agricultural High School is rich in tradition, but also progressive in its approach to the future.
Mr. Dale and the ag teachers are trying to be on the cutting edge of what's going on with agriculture for our state. We're trying to partner with Mississippi State for some different ideas that we have for maybe turf management, things that students can go on to college and major in. It's just a very unique experience to live in this area and to work here and to be a part of this history and this rich culture that you have in South Forrest County.
Stay tuned for our Mississippi on the Menu feature right after these messages.
I'll never forget the pride that my dad took in the crops that he grew on our farm. He always said the work we do is important, that we feed Mississippi and the country. We can help people put healthy, safe, and affordable food on their table, and that's a reason to be proud. Americans spend only about 10% of their disposable income on food. In some countries, it's 50%. Mississippi farmers are proud to do our part to help families enjoy safe, healthy food at affordable prices.
The Farm Families of Mississippi.
Mississippi sweet potatoes really pack a punch. They give you, first, a lot of good nutrition. They're loaded with beta-carotene, antioxidants, vitamin C, and lots of fiber. The American Heart Association has even given them their symbol as a heart-healthy food. The second thing is that Mississippi is the second leading in the nation in acreage in sweet potatoes. Last year alone, $56 million value given to our state from sweet potatoes grown by Mississippi farm families. Let's look at a great way to use sweet potatoes. You know, one of the hot things in restaurants these days is sweet potato fries or sweet potato wedges, and they're so simple and easy to do. I mean, peeling a sweet potato, and then just simply we're going to clean it up a little bit, and we're going to cut the ends off of it. And then you simply cut them whatever size you want them to be. If you like wedges, like I usually like, you cut them larger. If you like them in a smaller, maybe you have folks with little fingers at your household, you'd want to make them a little bit smaller. And the only thing that it affects is the cooking time that you have on there. But we're going to take these, cut them up into wedges. And as you can see, this is something, by the way, that can be done quickly. A lot of times when we think of sweet potatoes, we think of sweet potatoes for holiday meals, which is a great time to use them. But you can use them in everyday meals for your family. And we're going to take this other one, slice it up as well. Again, quick, 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 very easy to do. And we're going to take it. You know, the fries that you get in restaurants, most of the times, they're fried really in a deep fat fryer. This particular way, we're doing them in the oven so that we're giving them that fried texture, but it's going to be a delicious treat that you can then have that's heart healthy because we're using a low amount of fat. We're going to take this and put it in a bag. Fun way to involve your children. Let them help you out with this. We're going to put in a couple of teaspoons, just teaspoons, of canola oil, which is a good heart healthy oil. To that I'm going to add a little bit of salt, and I'm going to add a little bit of cayenne pepper for a kick. You simply close up your bag, rub it around a little bit so it coats it. We put it onto our baking sheet, and this is going to go into a 450-degree oven for about 30 minutes all total, and then we're going to have delicious sweet potato wedges that we can put out. You see my finished product that I've got right here. These would be great with anything that you want to pair it with on your dinner table. Great for a side for a healthy hamburger treat as well. Thanks again for joining us. Check us out at growingmississippi.org and look for what your farm families are doing here in Mississippi.
And that's all the time we have for this edition of Voices of Agriculture. We hope you've enjoyed the show and will be with us again next time. For all of us here at the Mississippi Farm Bureau, thanks for watching.